comes from that one.
everybody, and welcome to our meditation on attracting money for hierarchical purposes. We have just a little bit of reading, and then we will go into the meditation itself. This meditation is meant to help us confront a very serious problem, redirecting the stream of financial resources, money, into the hands of those types of activities that will support the manifestation of the divine plan. It seems so simple, of course, but not really, because as DK has said, it seems so difficult for people to give. And perhaps, this reveals an underlying fear, an underlying materialism that we have not expunged from our approach to living. But the day will come, and we have to try to help it arrive. I just want to deal a little bit with the closing section of the problems of humanity dealing with capital and labor. It's on page 82 and 83 of the book, The Problems of Humanity. And the Tibetan says, money, the accumulation of financial assets, and the cornering of the earth's resources for organizational exploitation will soon prove utterly useless and futile. That cornering can be related to many signs of the zodiac, but he seems to connect it with Scorpio very much. But soon it will not be useful. It will not be successful, provided that these resources of energy and the mode of their release remain in the hands of the people's chosen representatives, and are not the secret possession of a certain group of powerful men or of any one nation. He's speaking about the possibilities that are promised by the right use of atomic energy. Atomic energy belongs to humanity as a whole. The responsibility for its control must lie in the hands of the men of goodwill. They must control its destiny and make it available along constructive lines for the use of men everywhere. No one nation should own the formula or secret for the release of energy. And I think, ever since the 1940s it has spread around the world, with some nations of a questionably responsible nature also possessing it. Until mankind, however, has moved forward in its understanding of right human relations, an international group of men of goodwill, trusted and chosen by the people, should safeguard these potencies. Well, we are still far from that state. If this energy is released into constructive channels, and if it remains safely guarded by the right men, the capitalistic system is doomed. Now, of course, the people who control the resources of the earth, they know that. And so we can expect resistance against the type of ideas the Tibetan offers here. The problem of labor will then be the major problem of unemployment, a dreaded word which will be meaningless in the golden age which lies ahead. This is the yuga that is called the golden age. The masses will then be faced by the problem of leisure. And this is a problem which, when faced and solved, will release the creative energy of man into channels undreamed of today. The release of atomic energy is the first of many great releases in all the kingdoms of nature. The great release still lies ahead of humanity, or the great release still ahead of humanity will bring into expression mass creative powers, spiritual potencies and psychic unfoldments which will prove and demonstrate the divinity and the immortality of man. All this will take time. The time factor must govern as never before the activities of the men of goodwill and the work of those whose task it is to educate not only the children and the youth of the world, but also to train humanity in the major undertaking of right human relations and in the possibilities immediately ahead. Now, it's obvious that if we cannot train ourselves and others in the undertaking of right human relations, those possibilities will be delayed. And, perhaps for centuries. The note to be struck and the word to be emphasized by is humanity. That word is humanity. Only one dominant concept can today save the world from a looming economic fight to the death, can prevent the uprising again of the materialistic systems of the past, and indeed they have risen again, can stop the re-emerging of the old ideas and concepts and bring to an end the subtle control by the financial interests and the violent discontent of the masses. In the protest movements that we see before our eyes at this time, that discontent is showing itself. The rebellions are largely against inequality and lack of opportunity, and of course against oppression. A belief in human unity must be endorsed. This is an italicized statement. A belief in human unity must be endorsed. This unity must be grasped as something worth fighting and dying for. It must constitute the new foundation for all our political, religious, and social reorganization, and must provide the theme for our educational systems. That's quite a statement here. Human unity, human understanding, human relationships, human fair play, and the essential oneness of all men, these are the only concepts upon which to construct a new world through which to abolish competition and to bring to an end the exploitation of one section of humanity by another and the hitherto unfair possession of the earth's wealth. As long as there are extremes of riches and poverty, men are falling short of their high destiny. I think we can see how relevant his words are to the situation as it exists today. And it does seem that this struggle is coming to a head in our, political process. The kingdom of God can appear on earth, and this in the immediate future, but the members of this kingdom recognize neither rich nor poor, neither high nor low, neither labor nor capital, but only the children of the one Father, and the fact, natural and yet spiritual, that all men are brothers. Here lies the solution of the problem with which we are dealing. The spiritual hierarchy of our planet recognizes neither capital nor labor. It recognizes only men and brothers. The solution is therefore education, and still more education, and the adaptation of the recognized trends of the times, to the vision seen by the spiritually minded and by those who love their fellow men. So this is the end of that section on capital and labor, on solving the problem between moon chain and earth chain humanity, on eliminating the practices which are essentially so unfair and keep so many millions in the prison of poverty, and, if I may say, keep so many millions in the prison of luxury, rampant in Atlantean times and showing itself again. So we have a great responsibility here, and it calls for sacrifice, of course. So let's go ahead and, paying attention to the Tibetan's words and ideas here, we will undertake this meditation. With the idea in mind, let us ponder it, that to those who give shall be given, so that they can give again, and to even more drastically in a way. And think about it, because it makes a master, it makes a high spiritual initiate. To those who give all is given. Now of this the Christ is for us the great master. And the masters of the wisdom know of his extraordinary spiritual sacrifice. And maybe we can go even farther and think of Sanat Kumara as the great sacrifice, having given all that is permissible to give. So we ask ourselves certain questions, attuning as the soul, or at least trying to answer from the perspective of the soul. If money is one of the most important things needed today for spiritual work, what is the factor which is at present deflecting it away from the work of the hierarchy? Let's ponder for a few moments. And I think we will learn something about humanity's sense of values and our own sense of values. What is my personal attitude towards money? Do I regard it as a great and possible spiritual asset, or do I think of it in material terms? Question 3. What is my personal responsibility in regard to money which passes through my hands? Am I handling it as a disciple of the Masters should handle it? Well, we answer these questions before the bar of the soul. And we try to come to a position of rectitude with respect to the divine plan, which must be manifested, and at this time through the right use of money. Later we'll see maybe a system based upon abundant energy and some kind of regulated barter and exchange will be instituted. DK seems to promise that. Certainly the use of money, the way it is currently used, will disappear. It's a battle. Hercules, the triumphant disciple, fights that battle with the head of the wrong use of money, one of the material heads of the Hydra. And the fear must be overcome, and the generosity induced for the benefit of the generous person and for all that generosity touches. Do we have a problem in ourselves with this particular Hydra head? We all have to fight and defeat the Hydra. And maybe before the third initiation, no one is exempt from dealing with one or more of the heads of the Hydra, physical, emotional, and mental. And even after the third degree, has the Hydra been completely defeated? Well, much defeated, but maybe not entirely, because even the person who wants to express his or her own soul, rather than the immediate needs of the divine plan, may be still suffering from a subtle form of pride. So, let us ponder on the redemption of humanity through the right use of money as we see it. The right use. It should be a support for the great second aspect, which is now coming into expression through the reappearance of the Christ and the emergence of the planetary soul. But today, money is used, and we can visualize this, in the most cases for purely material purposes, and for the satisfaction, where the individual is concerned, of purely personal desires. And I think we can see how money could be used simply to strengthen the Hydra, even using money to make more money. It's all entrapment in the lower desire nature. There's not one head of the Hydra that cannot wrongly be fed by this wrong use of money. So, instead, we visualize money as a great stream of flowing golden substance, passing out of the control of the forces of materialism and into the control of the forces of light. Money passing out of the darkness into the light. And then we say the following invocative prayer with focused mental concentration and from a heartfelt desire to meet spiritual demands. O Thou, in whom we live and move and have our being, the power that can make all things new, turn to spiritual purposes the money in the world, touch the hearts of men everywhere, so that they may give to the work of the hierarchy that which has hitherto been given to material satisfaction. The new group of world servers needs money in large quantities I ask that the needed vast sums be made available. May this potent energy of thine be in the hands of the forces of light. And then we visualize the work to be done by those groups which claim our present allegiance, any group which we know is attempting to carry out the hierarchical plan. And through the creative imagination and by an act of the will, we see untold and unlimited sums of money pouring into the hands of those who seek to do the Master's work. I think we can see that if the projects of the various ashrams and the goals of the 10 seed groups were visualized as receiving the flowing golden substance, then before long we would be well on our way to solving humanity's problems. And then we say, with conviction and emphasis, He for whom the whole world waits has said that whatsoever shall be asked in His name, and with faith in the response, shall see it accomplished. And we remember at the same time that faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And now we ask for the needed money and for whatever group or process or project we would like to see it directed towards. So we name those things. We first say, I ask for the needed money for, and then we name those projects, processes, projects which we would like to see the money directed towards. So, I ask for the needed money for and I can demand it because from the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. The Christ is reputed to have said, by human hands and human feet shall the new age be built. And so, in our creative imagination, we prepare to give our offering to the Christ and whatever he would support as being part of the divine plan. And the right use of money, of course, will make us co-creators in the manifestation of the divine plan. So, affirming our relationship with the great Lord, we say, we have gathered in your name, Lord Maitreya, be with us. And so, in our living imagination, we offer now for him the money we may have saved during the previous week, so that his plan may be advanced. And we close with a careful consideration of our own responsibilities to the plan, and we plan our weekly financial cooperation with the hierarchy, knowing that in the practical sense and the realistic sense, if we do not give, we may not ask, for no one has the right to evoke that which he or she does not share. So we'll spend a few moments in silence, cooperating, in meditation, contemplating our relationship with the hierarchy as it attempts to see the divine plan manifested. We attempt to feel true love sweeping through us, and we have the fixed intention to express this love to all we may contact. It is the great, attractive and selfless agent in world affairs. whatever group it may be, or groups, it's all one great cause to lift humanity. Each of us is doing that in our own way, and our groups in their own ways, and all are necessary. So, let us sound the Om 3 times, precipitating love wisdom into the worlds of the threefold personality of humanity, and of course into our own personality as well. Thank you, friends, for your participation in this weekly approach to invoking the necessary resources to carry on this esoteric work. One day it will not be esoteric. One day humanity will know a lot more about it if we offer the right kind of education. Hopefully we can do that. On Wednesday we will resume. We'll be on the morning schedule for the Ask project, and we'll begin with triangles, and then in the evening we'll have the science of triangles. I say evening here in Europe. And then on Thursday the reappearance of the Christ, and then in the evening identification as being, as we try to understand that most subtle of all factors, being. And on Friday morning, the glamour work, dissipation of glamour, so necessary today, and we'll look at the secret doctrine in depth when the evening comes around, and then back to the soul of nations, with maybe readings from the destiny of the nations. We read last, just a couple of days ago, yesterday in fact, about the energies of the United States, and we have a number of the countries for which DK has offered a rheological and astrological analysis. So it's fascinating to see how he does this, and this can be applied to the human being as well. And 1 week from today, invoking money again for the manifestation of the divine plan, for hierarchical purposes. We have many methods of education, and the Moria Federation will give us deep training in esotericism, and the Seven Ray Institute with the USR will sponsor our series of webinars and broadcasts, and next year the fifth ray, and we will have a streamed conference because it seems to work so well in these dangerous times, and it does include many more people. So again, lots of love, many blessings from Tuya and from myself and from the whole team, and we will be with you at the next opportunity. Goodbye for now, and see you on Wednesday.